What up? This is Rama Screen, and it's time for another celeb interview. And in the anticipation of Gun and a Hotel Bible, which arrives January 5th, I'm here talking with the directing team of this new movie, Raja Gosnell and Alicia LeBlanc. How are you, Raj and Alicia?
Very good. Very happy to be here, Rama.
Doing great.
Excellent. Thank you for taking the time. Raja, let me start with you. I'm a big fan of your movies. Never Been Kissed is one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. But Gun and a Hotel Bible doesn't have Drew Barrymore. It doesn't have tiny blue creatures. It doesn't have Mystery Incorporated gang. How did you come to collaborating with Alicia on this project?
I know. What happened to all my tricks? um, Look, I've wanted to do a movie like this my entire life, and the opportunity to do something like completely stripped down, completely just, it's all about the writing and the acting. And you can't get more stripped down than there's two characters in a room confronting each other over morality and just every bit of ingredient in this just made it a great movie to do. And honestly, I'm really on. You won't be surprised. I don't get these scripts in my inbox. You know what I mean? I don't get the Aaron Sorkin like interesting dramas in my inbox. So it was really an honor to have the opportunity to do it.
And Alicia, you directed Ben and Daniel's original play. What was it that struck you the most about what Ben and Daniel wrote that made you want to be involved with it? And what were the challenges of directing a story that essentially, as Raja puts it, two people, two characters, verbally wrestling with each other?
Yeah, well, I've been friends with Bradley and Daniel for a while, and they gave me the script for notes first off, and I read it and immediately just related very strongly to both characters and wanted to see them come to life. Wanted to see them. Essentially, I wanted to protect these characters. I wanted them to both be heard, and I think we achieved that in both the play and the film.
And was it always 1 hour runtime?
These guys, Bradley and Daniel, were so consistent. We started this script started as a play for the Hollywood Fringe Festival, and we had to hit our runtime because they would kick us out otherwise. They were consistently at 56 minutes on the dot every single time, no matter where the laugh lines were or who was in the audience, because it changed. It changed depending on what the experience mix of the audience was. They laughed at different things, but gosh, these guys were professional.
In the process of bringing a stage play onto the screen, I'm sure it comes with various creative choices to try to make it look as movie-like as possible. What were some of those creative choices that you did for this one? And were there elements of the play that you had to adjust or leave out or maybe add new things in order to make it look cinematic?
Honestly, very little. The play, all of Alicia's blocking is what you see in the movie. And we didn't change one line. We maybe toned down a couple f bombs, but for this audience as opposed to Hollywood Fringe. But for the most part, what you see is what it is. So the challenge with filming it is, um, you know, I definitely wanted to design the camera work to sort of go with the rhythm of the play, and the rhythm of the piece is these two characters start at like sort of different corners, almost like a prize fight, and they're kind of feeling each other out and sizing each other up, and then they kind of mix up for a while, then they retreat to their corners, and so to have the visual storytelling around that sort of go with that rhythm, just try to design sort of as many longish shots without cuts as possible. And then, when they sort of mixed it up to sort of speed up the pace of everything. So that was the design. And I guess, the fact that it takes place in one room and sort of the claustrophobia of that, and that Pete can't get away from the Bible or his conscience or whatever it is that is there talking to him is part of the piece. So um, that I didn't see. I saw that as an ally, not necessarily as a hindrance.
Yeah, I think that we didn't, like Raja said, we didn't change a heck of a lot. We did add some flashback scenes, so you see a little bit
Mm.
of Pete's background. We didn't have any really dialogue in those, not much. But yeah, in the play, it's just the two guys, and you see their opening monologues, and they talk to the audience like they do on camera, which is it's so great seeing it on film because we're able to be closer and all the wonderful nuances of their performance come out. There are moments where Bradley reminds me of Jimmy Stewart every single time.
That is awesome. That's a great comparison. And where is this hotel? I just want to ask logistically, where's this hotel that you guys shot most of the scenes at?
In the story, it's in Chicago. In reality, it's in downtown LA. And we did one shot, and we sort of did a little bit of CG work to make it look like Chicago. So, and then the interior is just a set that we put together in a little stage up in Canoga Park.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we shot the film in 4 days interior and 1 day exterior. So we were jamming, and the actors were just amazing. It was like, okay, page 32, go, and they give me these 7-minute takes where they're just spot on, and they could just sort of drop in, and their rhythm and performance was great. And I guess because they'd done it so many times, and as Alicia said, sort of had to be perfect. And so as a director, like, they already know the blocking, the performances nails on. I can just turn the camera on and go. Was really just incredible.
Those are my boys.
Raj, I gotta ask, when a family member decides to follow in your footsteps into the entertainment business like this, what advice did you give to your son Bradley? And does Bradley have aspirations to someday become a director like you?
I'm gonna let you ask him that question. You're gonna talk to him later, so I don't want to steal his thunder. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a tough business, and so, and a lot of times, like, the answer to a question is, I don't really know, man. Sometimes things just happen, and sometimes you can make them happen, and sometimes when you want them to happen so bad, they don't. So, but that's kind of the appeal of the business to a lot of people, is that every single day is different. Every day is kind of an adventure of sorts, and you don't know what's going to happen. And so, I didn't have a lot of sort of great advice. I never had to survive in the acting portion of the business. So it was actually, I have frustratingly little to offer him in the way of sort of sage, industry advice. But in terms of the directing thing, we'll see. We'll see. I think that I'll let him answer that question.
I grew up in a conservative Christian family. Let me tell you, my family and my peers from back home will get a kick out of watching Gun and a Hotel Bible because there are kinds of conversations on this film that are familiar to us. It's a wrestling match between two sides who are defending their arguments, trying to appeal to the other side, letting the other know where they're coming from, and all the while rationalizing their own principles and beliefs. So, Raj and Alicia, please break it down for us. What do you think Gun in a Hotel Bible wants to convey? And does this film only resonate with people from Christian background, or can it also ring true for people who never picked up a Bible in their entire life?
Actually, the the guys didn't set out to write a Christian script. They set out to write
Hmm.
a really good story, and the script kind of evolved out of real discussions that they had with each other and some very, very long emails. I'll let them tell you about that. But we found that when we were doing the play, both Christian audiences and people who had walked away from the church, atheists, walked out of the theater feeling heard. And they would spend like 20 minutes on the sidewalk just talking about it afterwards. And that's the real hope of this story, is that it'll spark conversation where people are hesitant to talk about these things, but it makes it easy to talk about.
Yeah, I think I echo that. We saw the play, and were struck by the great acting and the great writing, and but what really struck us was what happened on the sidewalk afterwards, and people were just they had to talk about this, and as Alicia alluded to, like people from the church, people who had never been to church, people who had walked away from the church, like there's a voice for everyone in this piece, and people just have to talk about it, and it just sort of it gives people license to broach that subject. You'd never casually go up to someone at the water cooler and say, "Hey, what do you think about Ephesians?" Or whatever, like, or what's your feeling on this controversial topic in the Old Testament, or whatever. Like that would just never happen. But at that, without fail, after every performance and every screening of this movie, people are having those conversations. So I think the takeaway is it's okay to have those conversations. It's okay to disagree. It's not just about religion, about politics, about all these things that we're going through as a country right now. You can have a respectful disagreement in a conversation, and actually learn from each other, and maybe even bond through that process. And in terms of I come from a Christian background, so that's how I view this piece. But it could easily be someone from another faith confronting their faith beliefs, and I think it could be applied. The concepts of it at least be applied to someone of any faith.
All right. Well, and finally, this is my last question for each of you. What's next on your horizon, and will you be able to do those projects during this pandemic?
I have a script in development right now, and been talking with a producer, and we've had to push things out a bit. But yeah, we're able to remain creative. It's a wonderful story about what it means to be a father. It's a comedy.
Developing a few things, sort of what you'd expect, more in the Gosnell wheelhouse, I guess, of what I've done. Sort of big family comedies and CG creatures and those sorts of things. So right now everything's just development. We're all in Hollywood seeking the magic green light. So so basically. Development goes on as we are now over Zoom and emails back and forth. So hopefully the pandemic will be a distant memory by the time we actually roll a camera, or at least the protocols will be in place, and it'll be all manageable. So not the top of my concern list at the moment.
And for my fans at home, everybody go check out Gun and a Hotel Bible, arriving January 5th. Raja Gosnell and Alicia LeBlanc, thank you so much for talking to me, and congratulations.
Thank you,
Thank
Rama.
you.
Thank you for giving our little movie some attention. It's much appreciated.